Que pasa? It's Justin, Retro Rhythms here. It's been a hot minute, huh? And before I get to this, I promise that soon I will upload a couple of classic content clips. But since I have a little bit of a respite from work this week, I thought that I would just do a fun little impromptu clip. And so I'm going to delve into two boxes of cassingles, aka cassette singles, from my collection. Now, most of these are ones that I purchased during the 90s, during my childhood, from one of several local record shops, which I'll talk about in the course of this. And this is not scripted, so I might make mistakes, so bear with me. But some of these might be ones that I acquired in more recent years. And some will be connected to some content that I have on the channel, and others not necessarily, but obviously artists and music that I like, and some well known and some not so well known. So we'll start off with I have two boxes that I've selected. One is artist names starting with the letter C, the last names are the group names, and the other one is artist names with M. So just a couple portions of the alphabet. Now, it was funny to me when I took out the C box because I was deciding what to take out, and I saw that I have so many Mariah Carey cassette singles, which is, it makes sense because growing up I was quite a big fan. I do still listen to her, but I don't follow her as much these days. Now, I will say that I guess this one right here, for I Don't Want to Cry, which was the final American single from her self-titled 1990 debut album, produced by Narada Michael Walden. This is fitting for Retro Rhythms because I have on the channel her video soul interview, which is one of the most viewed videos on my channel. And I do remember in the fall of '91 when I first saw this in the store, the cassette single of Emotions, the one that stirred up so much attention because of its striking similarities to the Emotions Best of My Love, that I was so excited because I was surprised at that time that she was already coming out with another album. So I remember the feeling when I went to DJ's Music and Video in Norfolk, Virginia, and saw it. I didn't even know about it. And this is the follow-up, Can't Let Go. Now, I will say there was another clip on my channel from this time period, but it got removed. I don't know why. It was an interview. Anyway, and then the final American single from that album, Make It Happen, which I have to say, I guess because of the Unplugged that she did with the live rendition of I'll Be There featuring Trey Lawrence, Emotions got cut kind of short. I love I think my favorite song from the album maybe is To Be Around You. It might be a tie with Can't Let Go. They're both great. Of course, there was some litigation around Can't Let Go, but anyway. And speaking of I'll Be There, the Unplugged, there is that cassette single from that EP. Okay, and then it moves into the 93 period with the Music Box album with Dream Lover featuring the B-side Do You Think of Me, which was included on the recent 30th anniversary reissue of Music Box. And then the sort of double A side, Without You and Never Forget You. Without You, of course, being the Harry Nilsson classic. Never Forget You, a really moving song that she wrote with Babyface. Kind of an underrated one. There was a separate 12-inch single, different cover with different mixes of that, but the album version is the best, in my humble opinion. And then finally, from Mariah Carey, the last American single from that album, Anytime You Need a Friend. Ooh, kind of glare on that one. Yeah, good one. Not my favorite, but the B-side, Music Box, the title track, love that. I performed that at kind of a friends and family production that I put together in '94, and it's just a beautiful song. I sometimes forget whom she wrote that with, but it's Walter Afanasieff. Great talent. Okay, don't know a lot about them, but for Eurodance fans, this might ring about a bell. Cartouche, Let the Music Take Control. They had a string of singles throughout the 90s. I don't really know so much about who did what vocals and what. My favorite American release of theirs was a single after this called Hold On, which Freddie Bastone remixed. Now, this does relate directly to my channel. This is Sue Ann Carwell from Minneapolis. This is Sex for Love. This was her last American single. She's put out music since then, but last solo single. This is from her album called Painkiller in '92, and there's a clip on my channel of me singing this from the late '90s. Really funky track. And let's see. Yes, this was written by Lainey Stewart and Tony Haynes. And anyway, there's another song from the album which you might know called 7 Days, 7 Nights. You can see that video on YouTube. Charles and Eddie, NYC. I was real sad to find out that Charles had passed away some years ago. Eddie, I did not make the connection until recent years. I have a album from from 1989 on a Luke Skywalker Records when it was still called that. I think before it was changed to Luke. And the artist's name is Edward Louis Anthony. There's a New Jack Swing song called Good to You. It's kind of an interesting pop dance album, kind of a curiosity. And I didn't know that it was the Eddie because I didn't hear it till years after this. Now, this was the follow-up to Would I Lie to You. You know, of course, that they kind of ended up being a one-hit wonder in the States anyway, but they did have another album after this called Chocolate Milk, which I believe was well received by critics. Cherrelle, What More Can I Do For You? This was, I think, the last single from her Affair album. Now, you can see an interview from Video Soul on my channel from '91 of her. And so that goes to these three singles, starting with Never in My Life, which was either written or co-written by Allie Willis, the late great Allie Willis, with Narda Michael Walden and Louis Bianchinello. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. Love that song from the get-go. And then the follow-up, which again, here on my channel, you can see me performing it. I love it. Tears of Joy. It's produced by Keith Casey Cohen, who's known for a lot of different artists that he's worked with. But this one was written by Paul Sturck and Evan Rogers, aka Rhythm Syndicate. They've done so many things, and a guy named Paul Gray. And then the final single from that Woman I Am album that interview was in support of, I think an underrated one. I was kind of disappointed this didn't chart higher, Still in Love with You. And this was written by Narda Michael Walden with Louis and Linda Bianchinello. And nice house groove to this one. So, Chic Mystique, this is the title cut, I believe, of the comeback album that Chic did in '92. Of course, recently you probably heard the news that Alpha Anderson, one of the original Chic vocalists, passed away. She was a very sweet lady. I did not ever meet her in person. Tried to arrange that, but it didn't work out. But I did talk with her online, and I reviewed a song that she put out called When Luther Sings on Soul Tracks a few years back, and the album that she put out in conjunction with that was really cool. So I'm really sad that she's passed on. Now, this was with some different vocalists. Silver Logan Sharp and Jen Thomas were the female vocalists. And of course, this is when Bernard Edwards was still alive. This was in '92, and he passed tragically in '96. I swear I didn't intend it this way, but another one that's on my channel, I think of me singing at karaoke. Jane Child, Don't Want to Fall in Love. So, yeah, I mean, for a quote one-hit wonder, kind of interesting jam, so to speak, because it's very funky and rock pop at the same time, and I would say pretty different than a lot of her other songs. Although if you're familiar with her work, when she put out her sophomore album, like over 3 years later, which was really detrimental to probably the record company waiting that long, the single that they pushed at first was called Do What You Do, which was clearly, I would imagine, intentionally on their part by her, for her to pattern it right after this. It's good, but you can't always recreate that magic with a formula. Now, for a real obscurity, this is a rapper named Chocolate Chip, and I remember buying this at a Trax location. I don't know if any of you remember Trax and Record Bar, chain of record stores. I remember buying it at the mall in Virginia Beach that I frequented with my mom because I wasn't driving yet, and was just curious about it because it's actually on Jive Records, and I'm sorry, it's not on Jive, it's on RCA. but his album was never released, and it was supposed to be called Foreplay with the number four. I've kind of searched for that here and there, never found any um, like evidence. I don't know if there were any advanced copies. There is like another song on here in addition to the main song, I'll Be There, but I don't even remember if this charted at all. I have no idea who he is. I will say the interesting thing is, which maybe could give some clues that I could look into, and maybe some of you guys, is it was produced and mixed by Sean Bivens and Danny Bell. So that to me doesn't seem like a coincidence. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, then don't worry about it. But I hadn't really looked at the credits here in a long time, so that might be worth investigating. But he sang and rapped on this. As far as I know, it's him singing and rapping. I could be wrong because there was no video, I don't think, or anything. Or if there was, I don't think, I never saw it. All right, now, this lady has quite a history as a soulful house vocalist. But this was her big crossover hit, Another Sleepless Night, written and produced by Mike Hitman Wilson and remixed by David Morales, one of the mixes on this single. And the follow-up, Don't Lose the Magic. Now, the album itself, there's another picture of her there, very small, but the album itself didn't come out in the U.S. This was on Arista here. They did that a lot. They'd put out the singles and then not follow up with the album or do very little promotion of it. But they weren't the only label by far that did that back then. Oh, okay, one of my favorites, because she's so cool and so underrated, is Miss Rhonda Clark. Now, I do have others, but I'm not going to dig them out right now. Her first album, which was kind of mostly produced by the Flight Time Camp, including State of Attraction, her top 10 hit, produced by Jam and Lewis. But a blow the roof off the house kind of singer, but sweet as can be. These are from her second album, self-titled. The most popular tune from it was a remake of Luther Ingram's If Loving You Is Wrong, I Don't Want to Be Right. You can see that video on my channel. This is the follow-up, Must Be Real Love, produced by Zach Harmon and Christopher Troy. Really funky and swinging. This, though, okay, so When the Next Teardrop Falls. Sorry about that. That was on there when I bought it. I did not know till years later that this was a single. I think Tabby was going through one of its many distribution changes at the time in late 92. Hence why certain things didn't get released that I read about. Anyway, you can hear this on my channel. I love singing this one. I had done a video of myself singing this on Facebook some years back and shared it with her, and she really moved me with her feedback on it, because this song means a lot to me. So I wrote up several of her recent singles on Soul Tracks if you want to check those out. She's just a one-of-a-kind vocalist, so I don't think I can say much else in this span of all these different things I'm talking about. Kind of an obscure freestyle group called Clear Touch. They were on Micmac Records. And then we have Club Nouveau, which of course is known for their classic remake of Lean On Me when Foster and McElroy were still part of the group. Now here we have years later them doing a remake of Edwin Hawkins' Oh Happy Day. This is from their album called A New Beginning. They'd had some personnel changes by this point, but as you can maybe make out from this, Jay and Valerie were still in the group. So anyway, that was a cool version, and they did have a video for that. I know, not much to this cover, especially with that shrink shining through. Linda Clifford, you may know disco classics like Runaway Love, her versions of If My Friends Could See Me Now and Bridge Over Troubled Water, but also some cool 80s R&B tunes like The Heat in Me and I'll Keep On Loving You. And this was something kind of obscure in 92. Originally the 12-inch came out, I think. This is 93, the cassette single, What You Gonna Do, a label called Gold Carrot out of Chicago. It's a cool song. And when I got it as a kid, because a lot of her hits kind of predate me a little bit, so I didn't really know those yet. So she was kind of new to me. I just knew the name. Clubland featuring Zinnia Hamilton. They were very popular in the early 90s. I don't know a lot about the group. I know this wasn't their biggest hit, Hypnotized, but it was one that I was interested in getting, I guess, after hearing their couple ones that were have videos that were shown probably like on MTV Street Party and things like that. Okay, so we're getting to Natalie Cole. This is Wild Women Do from the Pretty Woman soundtrack. Pretty Woman, the iconic movie with Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. So this is kind of, I guess, noteworthy because this was the last pop single she did before she switched gears to doing the Unforgettable album, where she got out of the contract she was in so she could do the tribute to her dad. And from then, of course, she did albums like Take a Look and several Christmas albums. She did tinker around some in later years again with some more pop R&B stuff, somewhat with Snowfall in the Sahara and Leavin'. But, as far as like putting out like original pop singles, like for the most part, with the exception of maybe when she had her greatest hits, "Living for Love" in like 2000, I think. For the most part, this is kind of at the end of that run of like marketing herself that way. So that leads us right into, this was the follow-up to her unforgettable and like legendary now duet with her father on the title cut. This is The Very Thought of You. I wrote a tribute to her on Blog Critics, which if you maybe want to know more about her career, that you're kind of curious, take a read. Also on my channel, you can see the Video Soul interview she did in '89, so that's cool. And I had also had the chance to write liner notes for a reissue of her '83 album, I'm Ready, which was really cool. That was at a very difficult time in her life, but some cool gems nonetheless. And a couple other Natalie things on my channel, so just check it out. All right, so now we're getting to Tyler Collins, whom, when this was out, this is Girls Night Out, is the title cut, I believe, of her first album. This is a big pop and R&B hit for her, and I had the privilege to meet her at a local radio station called 103 Jams, which I later hosted a weekly review segment for. And I owe that opportunity to my dad, who was always looking out for my love of music, and took me down to the station, got an autographed photo. She was sweet as can be. Now on my channel, you can see an interview with her from Video Soul from '92, and that was in conjunction with the single Just Make Me the One, which led off her second album, simply called Tyler. That's definitely an album that got lost in the shuffle, and I think that the label did a kind of messy job with it, with like pushing it back and then just not seeing it through, because this second single, which I love, It Doesn't Matter, great song. It's actually co-written by Sayeda Garrett with Andres Levin and Camus Cherrelle, which are the CNA Productions group, which I believe, they did the production of Just Make Me the One. Just Make Me the One was originally a song on Misha Paris's Contribution album. But there's so many more great songs on the Tyler album, which has the same cover as this. So their budget, they weren't allotting much by that point. Because this second single came out before the album came out. Like, if you watch that interview, you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, like Diane Warren wrote a song there called Good Things Take Time, which I love. And there's an awesome ballad called I Can't Stand the Pain, which is interesting because I think that she wrote that one with Tom Keane. And, it's interesting because I did not realize for years there's a great slow jam on Celine Dion's first American album, Unison, called I'm Loving Every Moment with You. And I saw, Tyler Collins co-wrote that. So she got her writing in there for different people. Now this was, again, unfortunate. Talk about disappointments that can happen in an artist's career. So this was 2 years later. This is Thanks to You. This is from the Andre soundtrack. I cried when I saw that movie. I have it on my channel, but I will be honest, someone else put up the video sometime after, and it's better quality. Mine just, I had what I had. Beautiful performance and arrangement. Song was written by Julie Gold. Now this was not on the soundtrack, but it was released on Reprise Records, and she had a contract with them. Mind you, this was 2 years after that second RCA album. The album was not released. Full Force worked on it. I don't know if Prince did or not, but some other people. But I will tell you, because I was doing a magazine at the time, and I got some advances from Warner Brothers of certain albums that weren't released, but I never got one of this album. When I checked in with them at one point, they told me she was dropped from the label, but I wish I had known, because I haven't even listened, because I kind of don't want to know what I'm missing and then be like edgy about it. But someone got a copy and it's had on eBay for a while now for like over $1,000. So I don't know if I'll ever get my hands on that album, but it would be cool to hear. And then finally in the C box we have Color Me Bad. This is the Spanish version of I Adore Mi Amor, Yo Adoro Mi Amor. Of course, there's been a lot of drama with this group in recent times. Won't go into that. You could just kind of look it up. Yeah, this was their second single from their album. And yeah, so I think I'll actually stop with the C box for now, because I see I'm just a little bit past the 20-minute mark. And I'll try to do a part 2 at some point if people are interested. All right, but thanks for checking in and listening, and leave some comments or questions. And hope you had a nice holiday. I wish you a prosperous and happy New Year. And I hope to be back with some classic content for you in the coming weeks. Thanks as always for your support. Take it easy. Cuídate. Adios.